Good evening, good evening. We got a bright-eyed group of Course in Miracles students here. And I'll tell you, if you look at every one of them, you can see how ACIM is benefiting their lives. Don't they look like a bright and cheery group to you? Well,
Yes.
they do to me. And it's always a joy and a pleasure when we can get together and talk about this spiritual masterpiece that speaks of the truth in such a way that it's has a universal application. And I think it's hard to find these principles all in one place because that's the way the course is written. It's not written in a linear way, is it? Where first it talks about this and then it talks about that. It kind of mixes everything all up until we've learned it's talking about the same thing in many ways. And to me, that is what is so gratifying. It's showing me that there are a few principles that I can use in a holistic way to manage every aspect of my life. And I'm just grateful for that. Maybe it's not for everyone, but thank goodness love has a version of the truth for everyone. You know, sometimes we hear it in the lyrics of the songs that we hear, or maybe it comes across to us by listening to certain, I don't know, spiritual masters or wise people. We've also learned about all these messages that are in the movies and the shows and the books we read. And we find these messages where we didn't see them before. It's kind of like my eyes have been open, and I think the course has been a big part of that. I hope you guys feel the same way. So, anyhow, welcome. It's the Unity of Livonia, A Course in Miracles Study Group. It is Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. Are there any questions or anything anyone wants to say before we get started? All right. Well, let's just go ahead and do it. We're going to start tonight in the workbook for students. And according to our schedule, we're on page 323, lesson 169. Let's get our reading list together, okay? I have Gina as reader 1, Sherilyn 2, Joan 3, Frank is 4, Nancy 5, and
Jim,
yes.
I won't be able to read tonight.
Okay, gotcha.
Me too.
So we have Frank is 4, and then Hilda is reading 5.
I think
You
not.
either?
No, I have a issue with eyes.
All right, let me make those adjustments. So we have 4 readers, right? Gina, Sherilyn, Joan, Frank. How about me? How about I'll be reader 5, okay? And we might still have some other folks
Sherilyn and Nancy
tonight. So we'll go.
Nancy's not.
How about Sherilyn and Nancy or Joan? You got Joan, Sherilyn, and Nancy?
Yeah,
Sherilyn
I'm
is
two.
2.
There's number
Yeah.
2. Okay.
Joan is 3. Frank, you're 4. And I'm 5.
Nancy going to talk, read?
No, she's not reading, and
Yeah.
Hilda's not reading.
Okay.
I'm
We
coughing
good?
a lot tonight, so I can't read.
It's good to know your limits. No problem at all.
Okay.
All right, Gina, you want to get us started? Lesson
Sure.
169.
By grace I live, by grace I am released. Grace is an aspect of the love of God, which is most like the state prevailing in the unity of truth. It is the world's most lofty aspiration, for it leads beyond the world entirely. It is past learning, yet the goal of learning, for the grace cannot come until the mind prepares itself for true acceptance. Grace becomes inevitable instantly in those who have prepared a table where it can be gently laid and willingly received, an altar clean and holy for the gift.
And let's do one more, okay, Sherilyn?
Grace is acceptance of the love of God within a world of seeming hate and fear.
Would you, hey, Sherilyn,
Yes,
start over on paragraph
Okay.
2, right?
yes.
Okay, I couldn't hear you for some reason before. Go ahead.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Better.
Grace is acceptance of the love of God within a world of seeming hate and fear. By grace alone, the hate and fear are gone. For grace presents a state so opposite to everything the world contains that those whose minds are lighted by the gift of grace cannot believe the world of fear is real.
What's grace?
The acceptance of the love of God within a world of seeming hate and fear.
So it's not just the acceptance of the love of God. There seem to be some other obstacles there. Right? What do I mean by obstacles?
Well, things that make it difficult to accept grace.
Yeah.
And the hate and fear are probably such that it causes grace to be difficult.
Okay. So it would appear to be something difficult to attain.
Mm-hmm. Except I also get the feeling that it's not something you can go out and grab to attain. It's something that just is.
Yeah.
It's not learned, it's just there. And we need to know how to get in touch with it.
I think in general terms, it's considered just something that is given by God,
Yeah.
and that we either can accept it or not, but it is
Right.
there for us all the time.
Good point.
It's even there when we don't want it.
Yeah. Yes.
So I like to spend, there are a lot of words. How about salvation? Now, I've heard that word all my life, but if you ask me, what does that mean? We might be hard pressed to give just a lay definition of what certain words mean. That's why I want to spend a little bit of time as we get into this, seeing if we're kind of on the same page. Grace, here, let me give you an analogy that I've started working with. And I'm not so sure of it. That's why I'm asking advice. Grace is like when your parents take those sharp scissors from you, even when they seem so much fun, and you don't want to give them up. You know, like a little kid and their parent has to, despite the kid's objections, take that thing away from them because it'll hurt them. To me, that's grace. The parent who still offers even when you kick them to the curb. How does that? Somebody look it up. Let's do that. The word grace. Who's fast? The fast Googler we have here tonight. Well, you got to be faster. I guess you're saying, well, Jim, why don't you look it up?
So I have grace, just the definition,
Yes.
simple elegance or refinement of movement.
Is that the only definition?
That's number one. Second is courteous goodwill.
Okay, anything else?
Do honor or credit to someone or something by one's presence.
Okay, is that it?
Oh, there's more, but
What was the first one that you said? I didn't hear the last word.
simple elegance or refinement of movement.
Like being graceful, right?
Well, maybe the first, what was the first one that you said?
That was it.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah. Courteous goodwill was the second one.
Okay.
The third one says, in Christian belief, the free and unmerited favor of God as manifested in the salvation of sinners and the bestowal of blessings.
Ah, that's the one.
That's the one.
What
That's
we're
the one.
talking about, right, Gina? Right, every
Unmerited is the word.
yeah, but let's talk about that one because I don't think it's unmerited.
Well, what is
Who wouldn't
unmerited?
Go ahead, dear.
I was going to say, so what is unmerited? What is merited?
It means you don't,
zero.
unmerited means you don't
You
deserve.
Oh, I
To earn it.
would say, I don't know.
You don't have to earn it.
Yeah,
No.
that's a good way to put it. It's
And no, we're here. Let's start here and we can continue our debate. Let me put this on the table. Unmerited means you're not worthy, but I'm going to do it anyway. You don't deserve it, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's what I think unmerited means.
okay. Well, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, the meaning of it. Okay.
Is that agreed upon?
Makes it, yeah,
Yes.
makes sense to me.
Unmerited. So
Yes.
here's the vernacular. I'm a filthy, miserable sinner. I don't deserve it, but God's going to save me anyway. And I dispute that definition. I believe the course disputes the definition that God's favor is unmerited, but God's going to give it anyway. Because the course says I'm not a filthy, miserable sinner. The course says I'm sinless. So who wouldn't feel like I deserve to be saved? Who wouldn't trust me using the course's definition. Do you think God's stupid? Do you really think
No.
God invests in junk?
No.
God gives it because it's merited. The parent takes the scissors away because the kid's precious. What do you think?
I think of it as unconditional.
Yes. And the reason it's unconditional is because it's all, listen, if I created you, how could you not be like me? Am I not worth it? Listen, despite all the stuff you've been taught, you merit all the love there is. It's not an unmerited favor. It's a merited favor. I believe God says you deserve this, whether you think you do or whether you've been taught that you do or not. I know. I don't perceive. I know what I'm doing. I make good investments. Is that different
Yes.
in the dictionary?
I was just looking up in the revealing word, and there the grace is defined as goodwill, favor, disposition to show mercy, and an aid from God in the process of regeneration.
Well,
So
why
the
would
implication
God
there
show
is it's
mercy?
a disposition to show mercy. If you show mercy, that implies that it is not necessarily deserved or earned, but it is given.
And I disagree with that. Of course, I'm just Reverend Jim. This is not a mercy investment.
Doesn't have to be.
It's not mercy. It's well deserved, my children. All right, I should get off of that, right? It's only the first couple of paragraphs, right?
I think the real problem is that these are just words, symbols that were given to a particular act, and it's really hard to define it in dualistic language, if you will.
Yeah, well
So-
said. Yeah, I'm with you. Any other comments here? All right. I'm just checking. That should make us feel worthwhile, not worthless.
Yes, definitely.
That's all I'm trying to get at then. Let's go to Joan. We're on paragraph 3, I believe.
Okay. Grace is not learned. The final step must go beyond all learning. Grace is not the goal this course aspires to attain. Yet we prepare for grace, and that an open mind can hear the call to awaken. It is not shut tight against God's voice. It has become aware that there are things it does not know, and thus is ready to accept a state completely different from experience with which it is familiar, I can't say that word, familiarly at home.
Nice. And let's go to Frank for paragraph 4, please, sir.
We have perhaps appeared to contradict our statement that the revelation of the Father and the Son as one has been already said. But we have also said this mind determines when that time will be and has determined it. And yet we urge you to bear witness to the word of God, to hasten the experience of truth and speed its advent into every mind that recognizes truth's effects on you.
All right, so you know, one of the characteristics of a teacher of God is honesty, right?
Yes.
So this is one of those lessons in the course that I've always struggled with. I didn't quite understand it. I'm still fuzzy on it tonight. What do you think so far? Anything stand out in 3 or 4? Whether it's a comment or something you don't understand. Because I don't understand it, but maybe we can get Spirit to help us out if we open up a space for it tonight.
Like sentence 6 in paragraph 3, it has become aware that there are things it does not know and thus is ready to accept a state completely different from experience with which it is at home.
Is that a comment or a question, Joan?
It just seems like that's what's true.
You mean it kind of resonates with you some
It
kind of way?
resonates with me, yes.
Yeah. I see Jan is here. Hello, Jan. Good you could.
Hello, Jim. Sorry, running late.
No problem. We're so glad you're here. We're in the workbook on page 323, lesson 169.
Thank you.
We've read 4 paragraphs and we were discussing, Joan was asking a question, I guess. Paragraph 3, sentence 6. It has become aware that there are things it does not know and thus is ready to accept a state completely different from experience with which it is familiarly at home. I think I said that right.
Well done.
What's it?
An open mind.
All right, so this whole discussion is about an open mind. Where does it say an open mind? In what sense?
Sentence
3,
4.
no, 4.
4. Yeah. So we're all together. Do you all see it?
No.
So it's going to talk about an open mind, but let's just go ahead and go to paragraph 3, sentence 1. Grace is not learned. The final step for what must go beyond learning. What is the final step must go beyond all learning referring to?
That final step taken by God.
Well, go back. Yes, true.
Accepted on faith.
Yeah, but I'm just in sequence. Grace. The final step must go through all learning before you can get to grace. Grace is going to be beyond learning, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
However, it is a preparatory step toward grace.
Right.
Grace is not learned. The final step must go beyond all learning. Grace is not the goal this course aspires to attain. So, what is the goal of the course? It's not grace, is it?
It's peace.
What's it say in sentence 4? And you're right, Gina. Peace is part of the preparation for grace. An open mind is part of the preparation for receiving grace. How am I doing?
Much better.
Making sense.
Yes.
All right. So this is all preparatory stuff. Oh, Louise is here. Let's get her in. Is she muted or unmuted? Let's see. Hi, Louise. Can you unmute yourself for us? Welcome.
Okay, did it.
All right, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Listen, we're getting into it already. We're on Workbook lesson 169, page 323.
Yep, I got it right here. Don't start anything over for me. Let me just
All
slide.
right. Well, we were discussing paragraphs 3 and 4, and I started out admitting that this lesson is one of the fuzziest ones for me in the course. I don't really understand it, but you know what's happening? Every year when I have to teach it, it helps me understand it better. So I'm just getting on out there. And the first thing we were saying is that grace, the attainment of grace, which to me is merited favor, grace is not the goal of this course. The preparation for grace is what this course is designed for. It's to get us ready to receive the grace that's waiting for us to meet the conditions to receive it. And then it's going to go on to talk about what is the condition, right? Do you see where I am? Sentence 4. Yeah, can prepare for grace in that. What do we need to start moving toward this? It starts with an O, and then a P, and then a E.
Open-minded.
All right. Okay, y'all with me? Okay. So I'm just trying to understand this by reading through it and kind of talking about it with myself as well as you. So it says, what do you mean open-minded? It means that the mind is not shut tight against God's voice. What does the course call God's voice?
Holy Spirit.
Holy
Spirit.
Holy Spirit.
So the mind is not shut tight against the Holy Spirit. The mind instead has become aware that there are things it does not know. Yes?
Okay.
The hardest thing for humans to do especially as they get older, is to be honest and admit they do not know.
I don't know.
But if you don't close your mind by saying, I know, if you are honest and simply admit you don't know, then you can be taught. That's the Holy Spirit's function. But it can't work unless you're willing to do something totally foreign. Doesn't it talk about that in sentence 4? The mind, by now being open, has become aware that there are things it does not know, but it's willing to accept a state completely different from all the experiences of which it's been familiar. The ways of salvation are not hard, but they're definitely different from what we've been taught, what we're familiar with. What do you think so far? Is this saying let go and let God?
Yes.
Is this saying give up?
No.
And what you'll find is when you give up, you won't fall, you'll rise. Now we're preparing ourselves for the final step. Who takes that, Joan, again?
And God takes the final step.
But God can't take the final step until we're willing to meet the conditions for the final step to occur. Why can't God take the final step until we're willing to meet the conditions?
Because we have free will.
And God can't attack you. You have to want it. But that's the way love would handle it, right? It wouldn't press you. Are you worthy of an endeavor like that? Of a plan like that? I say yes. God knows what he's doing. You're not saved by mercy, saved by pity. I'm gonna be saved because I'm worth it. I'm not the victim of the world I see. I invent it. I'm evolution's highest production yet. When do you think our evolution will stop with minds like ours? Okay. There's some people that say our next state of evolution for the human species is more of a crystalline body, a light body, a more less dense body, a more see-through type. But I'm getting off here. Comments from you? Worthwhile so far, even though
Very
you
interesting.
don't understand it very well. But I appreciate you because you give me a chance to get out here and talk And I get the feeling you're getting some insights from listening, and I'm getting insights from talking. All we did was go sentence by sentence, right?
Right.
So to me, I feel better about it than the first time through. How about that? Anything in 4? Jesus says we have perhaps appeared to contradict our statement that the revelation of the Father and the Son as one has already, as one has been already set. But we have also said that the mind determines when that time will be and has determined it. Now, see, I'm confused. Somebody help. Oh, Lordy. Should I read some more? And Jesus says, and yet we urge you to bear witness to the word of God, to hasten the experience of truth and speed its advent into every mind that recognizes truth's effects on you. I have no idea what that's saying.
You know, what it says to me is that the Father and the Son are one. And the course has already said that previously. But we've also said that the mind, and I'm taking it as my little mind, my mind determines when the time will be that I see the Father and Son as one, the Son being me, that I choose to stop being separate, that I choose to be one with the Father. And maybe at that time,
okay,
I can claim the grace. I don't know.
Well, we were doing okay until you admitted at the end, right? It's okay. I mean, I'm not embarrassed because none of these guys are really getting it either.
Like you said, I don't know.
And that's okay.
Very good words.
I mean, I got next year. Maybe I'll know next year. I did okay on the other paragraphs, but this one's still throwing me. Let's keep going. All right. After Frank was number 4. Hey, Louise, do you want to be reader 5?
Sure.
All right,
Right now?
great. And Ron, would you be 6? And I'll take myself off the reading list. So, Louise, we're on paragraph 5.
What
Okay.
page are we on?
I'm sorry, Ron. We're in the workbook, page 323, lesson 169.
Thank you.
Paragraph 5.
Paragraph 5, yes.
Oneness is simply the idea God is, and in his being, he encompasses all things. No mind holds anything but him. We say God is, and then we cease to speak, for in that knowledge, words are meaningless. There are no lips to speak them, and no part of mind sufficiently distinct to feel that it is now aware of something not itself. It has united with its source, and like its source itself, it merely is.
Whoa. Ron, do paragraph 6, sir.
We cannot speak, nor write, nor even think of this at all. It comes to every mind when total recognition that its will is God's has been completely given and received completely. It returns the mind into the endless present, where the past and the future cannot be conceived.
It lies beyond salvation, past all thought of time, forgiveness, and the holy face of Christ. The Son of God has merely disappeared into his Father as his Father has in him. The world has never been at all. Eternity remains a constant state.
What's he talking about? What's it? Okay, start at sentence 4. You see it says, it lies beyond salvation. What's it? Well, a clue to me is the word beyond, because he started out talking about something that's beyond learning, that's beyond the goals of this course. What is that Jesus was talking about? Grace. Yes?
Yeah.
So let's try this. I'm in paragraph 6, sentence 4. Grace lies beyond salvation, past all thought of time, forgiveness, and the holy face of Christ. The Son of God, when he reaches this grace, right, has merely disappeared into his Father as his Father has in him. The world has never been at all, and eternity remains a constant state. Was grace a good plug-in for that pronoun? Was that helpful?
Exactly.
I was thinking it was oneness, but I guess it could be grace.
Oneness is the way to salvation. But grace, the discussion of this lesson, is telling us what's beyond this oneness. That's how I'm seeing it, Louise. Now, I may not be right on that. What y'all think? You thought it should be oneness that he's talking about. But I'm just maintaining from the context of where we started. That's why I said grace. Maybe not.
Well, I'm sure you're right. I just started late with paragraph 5, and the first word is oneness, so that's where I'm coming from.
Okay. All right. All right. I see what you mean. So I think we're close enough that maybe it's not worth debating, right?
No, no, not at all.
Just votes.
All right. Was there another comment? Okay. So we're on paragraph 7, right?
Right.
Yes.
All right. Ron, it's your turn, right?
I think I just read.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm losing it. Gina, we're back to 7. Well,
Alrighty.
mhm.
This is beyond experience we try to hasten. Yet forgiveness, taught and learned, brings with it the experiences which bear witness that the time, the mind itself determined to abandon all but this is now at hand. We do not hasten it, in that what you will offer was concealed from him who teaches what forgiveness means.
Oh my goodness. Let's do another one. Cheryl and White, paragraph 8.
All learning was already in his mind, accomplished and complete. He recognized all that time holds and gave it to all minds, that each one might determine from a point where time was ended, when it is released to revelation and eternity. Whew. We have repeated several times before that you but make a journey that is done.
Yeah.
For oneness, okay. Do you want me to go
You
on?
want to read some more? Go ahead. Let's do 9 also.
For oneness, oh,
Go ahead.
for oneness must be here. Whatever time the mind has set for revelation is entirely irrelevant to what must be a constant state, forever as it always was, forever to remain as it is now. We merely take the part assigned long since and fully recognized as perfectly fulfilled by him who wrote salvation's script in his creator's name and in the name of his creator's son.
There's something I could say about this, but I think you'll see that Jesus is perfectly aware of our uncertainty with this. Somebody, if you would, we're up to Joan, right? Could you do the next paragraph, paragraph 10?
Okay. There is no need to further clarify what no one in the world can understand.
And let me off the hook. Woo!
Go.
Go ahead. Sorry. Oh.
When revelation of your oneness comes, it will be known and fully understood. Now we have work to do. For those in time can speak of things beyond and listen to words which explain what is to come is past already. Yet what meaning can the words convey to those who count the hours still and rise and work and go to sleep by them?
Beautifully written to me. We're up to Frank.
Suffice it then that you have work to do to play your part. The ending must remain obscure to you until your past is done. It does not matter, for your part is still what all the rest depends on. As you take the role assigned to you, salvation comes a little nearer, and each uncertain heart that does not beat as yet in tune with God.
You know, Paramahansa Yogananda is one of my favorite spiritual teachers, and had a lot of influence on my life. His book, Autobiography of a Yogi, contains a chapter called, I don't know, Cosmic Experience. But he has this guru that he's been with for years, and the guru, he wants so much to have these out-of-body experiences that his guru talks about and things like that. And so after a number of years, his guru finally allows him, he says, "You developed enough, you're ready." And he gave him this cosmic experience. And he talked about how he could see in 360 degrees, and he could see the cows and the pasture, but he could also recognize the planets. And it was just this all-encompassing, glorious experience. And then he started coming down from it. And he was like really mad and upset, angry, because he didn't want to leave it. It was so glorious to be like that. And his mentor said, "All right, calm down. Okay, let's go sweep off the balcony, and then let's take a walk down by the Ganges. Calm down." I'll show you the mountaintop, but there's much work to do right here. That's what those last lines made me think about. So when you become lucid dreamers like us, you're aware that this is a dream. But you're also aware that the dream has a purpose. You work here. You learn here. It's a dream state. In itself, it's nothing. But these are the lessons that will allow us to complete the lessons. And we must complete the learning to meet the conditions for the next step. So do the work here wholeheartedly. It's all right to see the mountaintop, to know what this is headed. But it's also important to be a part of getting there. You have to do the work. That's my speech. What do you think? Do you see how there's a level 1 aspect to this?
Mm-hmm.
But level 2 is also going to be meaningful in our returning to level 1. We're preparing. We're meeting the conditions. We're in training. I'll stop there. What do you have to say? Then we're all, I don't know, who was the last reader? Frank?
I was.
So we're up to Louise. And
Okay.
right, didn't we do 11?
Mhm.
All right,
Yes.
so we're on 12.
Okay. Forgiveness is the central theme that runs throughout salvation, holding all its parts in meaningful relationships. The course it runs directed and its outcome sure. And now we ask for grace, the final gift salvation can bestow. Experience that grace provides will end in time. For grace foreshadows heaven, yet does not replace the thought of time, but for a little while.
All right, who's next?
I am. The interval suffices. It is here that miracles are laid, to be returned by you from holy instance you receive through grace in your experience to all who see the light that lingers in your face. What is the face of Christ but his who went a moment into timelessness and brought a clear reflection of the unity he felt and instant back to bless the world?
Yeah.
How could you finally attain to it forever while a part of you remains outside, unknowing, unawakened, and in need of you as witness to the truth?
And let's finish this. I got a few things to offer. Is that okay, though, or anything you want to say right now? All right, we're back to Gina.
Be grateful to return as you were glad to go an instant, and accept the gifts that grace provided you. You carry them back to yourself, and revelation stands not far behind. Its coming is ensured. We ask for grace and for experience that comes from grace. We welcome the release it offers everyone. We do not ask for the unaskable. We do not look beyond what grace can give. For this, we can give in the grace that has been given us.
Why don't you finish, Gina?
Our learning goal today does not exceed this prayer. Yet in the world, what could be more than what we ask this day of Him who gives the grace we ask, as it was given Him? By grace I live, by grace I am released. By grace I give, by grace I will release.
You mean like release others? Is that what that means? That last one? By grace I give, by grace I will release others. It sounds like I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. But I had one more reflection. I don't know how many of you are Bible people, but I spent a lot of years with the Bible, the Old and New Testament. And some of what I was reading here, probably in paragraphs 13 and 14, it made me think about the book of Exodus and when Moses went up on the mountain and talked to the burning bush and he said, go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. You remember that experience? You heard about it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
One of the things that features that the Bible describes is how the face of Moses shone so brightly, even when he came down from the mountain, that it took days for this glow to wear off, from this glow of going to the mountaintop, right? Like Yogananda, right? And the Course says, when you have these revelations, it won't last right now, but man, will you be lit. And that's the light I want you to bring back to do your work. That's what the revelation's for now. Anybody ever experience moments of revelation or out-of-body experiences, or just stuff that maybe it's very private, maybe it happened 20 years ago, but you never forgotten it? No, just me. Sorry. Too private?
I had an experience several years ago. I don't know if that goes along with what we're saying, where I had 2 or 3 days where I could only see love. Forgiveness wasn't even there because there was nothing to forgive. I was like on top of the world. Call it a holy instant, if you will.
Yeah.
But I've never forgotten it.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it back since.
And I've had stuff, and I'm going to get back to you, Louise. I've had some things where something went right, where things aligned just right. And I say, wow, that was weird how that all came together. But I've never forgotten them. I don't talk to people about it. Maybe the people will think I'm weird. They'll say, oh, that was just a coincidence. but I've seen them more than once. Louise, you had a comment there?
Oh, I guess I could say something. I don't know that it answers your question though. From what you said about Paramahansa Yoga and from what this is saying here, it's making me think of back in the day, the monks and the yogis would go in their cave and they would just meditate forever and be in a state of bliss. And it was all me oriented, me, and I'm going to enjoy the bliss. And with the Course in Miracles and lately, the whole emphasis in the spiritual evolution is for service. We go to the top of the mountain, we have the experience, like this says, and like you mentioned, but we have to come back to serve humanity. We're no longer supposed to stay in the cave of bliss and in the experience. We got to bring it back to our brothers.
And with all due respect to monks and that live like that, the Bible says when you have a lamp, you don't hide it under a bushel basket. You sit it on top of the hill so everyone can experience the light. The light is not for you alone. So take those revelations and let people see something to be hopeful about. Let them see your face glowing with love, Ron. And hold on to that as long as you can. That's what we try and do here, is charge up our batteries. But again, to me, you've heard me say this before, all due respect for what you do in your prayer closet. But it's when you take it out of the closet that it does the most good. Yes, no?
Yes.
We're saying the same thing in different metaphors and different forms, right? Thank you so much, Louise, for your comments, and Ron, certainly for yours. Any others? Then let's do our meditation period and just spend a few minutes with this. Like I said, it's been my experience that this is one of the more difficult lessons for me to understand. So let's get as much as we can out of it. I'm going to share screen and let Spirit work with us for a little while and get the most in terms of insight from this that we can. And here, let me get this going. By grace I live, by grace I am released. By grace I live, by grace I am released. Louise, are you still with us? Okay, boy, you were so quiet there. I thought maybe the screen had frozen. She was in
Nope, just meditate.
samadhi or something, deep meditation. Yeah. By grace I live, by grace I am released. But it's very hard to live by something you can't see. And that is completely different from everything you've ever been taught. And yet, that is what is being asked of us. The Apostle Paul said that faith is the belief in things unseen.
Seen.
These are people saying the same thing in different words, yes?
Yes.
But the course is teaching us how to see the content of something regardless of the form, and therefore is able to expedite our learning because we're not relegated to learning one form at a time, one form, then one form, then one form. That takes forever. So we're collapsing time by learning to see the foundation no matter what the form. And does the foundation emanate from love or something else? Whatever you call it, the something else is an illusion. So it really does require a lot of vigilance, particularly because it's something we can't see or touch. Comments, questions? That was a good, challenging lesson, don't you think?
Yes.
Let's spend a few minutes with our text reading here. We're in the text, page 518. Did Gina leave?
Yes.
She had to leave. She left me something in the chat, so I'll have to look at it. Anywho, so Gina's not reading. We're up to Sherilyn White. Does that make
Okay.
sense? We're on page 518, chapter 25.
Oh, right.
The justice of God.
Just mhm.
All right.
Introduction. The Christ in you inhabits not a body, yet he is in you, and thus it must be that you are not within a body. What is within you cannot be outside, and it is certain that you cannot be apart from what is at the very center of your life. What gives you life cannot be housed in death. No more can you. Christ is within a frame of holiness, whose only purpose is that he may be made manifest to those who know him not, that he may call to them to come to him and see him where they thought their bodies were. Then will their bodies melt away, that they may frame his holiness in them.
Let's do another, okay, Joan?
Okay.
Okay. No one who carries Christ in him can fail to recognize him everywhere, except in bodies. And as long as he believes he is in a body where he thinks he is, he cannot be. And so he carries him unknowingly and does not make him manifest. And thus he does not recognize him where he is. The Son of Man is not the risen Christ, yet does the Son of God abide exactly where he is and walks with him within his holiness, as plain to see as is his specialness set forth within his body.
May as well finish this and then we can start talking. It's getting near the end of the evening. Let's finish it and then talk. We're up to Frank, I believe.
Body needs no healing, but the mind that thinks it is a body is sick indeed. And it is here that Christ sets forth the remedy. His purpose folds the body in his life and fills in with the holiness that shines from him. And nothing that the body says or does but makes him manifest. To those who know him not, it carries him as gentleness and love to heal their minds. Such is the mission that your brother has for you, and such it must be that your mission is for him.
So, comments on paragraph 1? Okay. The Christ in you inhabits not a body, yet he is in you. So where is he there?
He's in my mind.
All right. And thus it must be that you are not within a body. Okay, here's Side Guru. Any of you watch this guy? I mean, he's got billions of followers on YouTube and other places. Literally billions. So let me ask you what he would say. He says, whatever you accumulate can be yours, but it can't be you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I have a cup, it can be my cup, but it can't be me. If I were to get obsessive and say, oh, see that vase over there? I love that vase. That's my vase. Give me my vase. It's mine. And you might say, okay, Jim, Jim acting a little weird, but I'll go along with him. He's my friend. But if I come to you and I say, give me my vase, this vase is me. Well, now you
Yeah.
ready to go, right? What is the body? I'm still talking Sadhguru, so let me give him his props. It's an accumulation of all the food and stuff you ate. Yes? When you
Yeah.
were born, it was this much, and now it's this much food that you ate. What else could it be? So you can say, this is my body. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
But you can't say, this is me. There was something there before the accumulation started happening. And that's the same message that I'm seeing here. Made me think of Sadhguru. Made me think, wow, there's only one truth, right? It's said by many different people in different ways, but it resonates. So Christ resides in our minds. What is within you cannot be outside. So if Christ wanted to be effective, where would he indwell?
No.
In your mind. Paragraph 2. No one who carries Christ in him can fail to recognize him everywhere except in bodies. That follows, right? And as long as he believes he is a body where he thinks he is, he cannot be. Whoa. Let's deal with the pronouns. Sentence 3. As long as he, small h, who is that?
Mhm. The person, you, me.
Okay. Believes small, the person is in a body where the person thinks the person is Christ
Cannot be.
All right, so we're deciphering here. But there's a very outstanding sentence there in sentence 6. Okay. Frank, were you reading? Could you read that one again? That last sentence?
Are you talking about paragraph 3?
I'm sorry, sir. Paragraph 2, sentence 6.
And 6. The Son of Man is not the risen Christ. Continue.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Yet does the Son of God abide exactly where he is, and walks with him within his holiness, as plain to see as his specialist set forth within his body.
So, Frank, I kind of it's synchronistic you were reading, not that you're the only Unity of Livonia person here. Doesn't that remind you of Reverend Cindy? And she'll always say, we're both human
And divine.
at the same time.
Mhm.
The human part of us is not the risen Christ, but the human part of us is the precursor to the fully risen Christ. Humanity is a step in the evolution to what we all must become. That's our destiny. That's our purpose. And so we walk level 1 and level 2. Do you see that in here? Simultaneously. There is a way of being in the world that is not here. That's that divine self, right? But appears to be here. Can you do that? Can you walk that way? Can you live that way? A way that you're both not here, but appear to be here? Because this is where you have work to do. This is the classroom. This is the training ground to prepare us for the complete restoration into the Christ. I'm not doing because it's getting closing time, and I don't want you to think I'm just spouting off.
It's kind of a good place to leave off tonight.
Say that again, Sherilyn.
It said kind of a good place to leave it tonight with these thoughts.
Yeah.
That knowing that you have the two parts and which parts they are.
Every moment they are operating simultaneously.
Yes.
But if you can learn to use your level 1 mind to manage your level 2 existence, then you're carrying out your purpose. Maybe you've heard it before. You're involved in bringing heaven to earth. You didn't know you were a part of that?
Well, not consciously, I guess.
Happen. Huh?
Said not consciously, I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Hadn't thought about it.
Okay. So we're trying to get us to live our lives consciously. Right?
Right.
No offense. It's just another way of being in the world. Has a lot of advantages. To me, it has a guidance factor that's incredibly happy and joyous despite all appearances. So with that, thank you. We didn't get to section 1, but I figured we did what we could. I did what I could. Maybe I should say it that way. Final comments, questions, criticism, suggestions. Hildegard, you ready?
Muted.
You're muted, Hilda.
Hilda, let me get you unmuted. You
Oh.
there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. We're ready.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I am
the light
the
of
light
God.
of God.
I am the love of God.
I
am the love of God.
I am the power of God.
I
am the power of God.
I am the presence of God.
I
am the presence of God.
Therefore, wherever I am,
I am,
God is.
God is.
God
It
is.
is.
and all is well.
Is well.
All is well.
There is nothing to fear.
There is
There
There
is
is
There's
nothing
nothing
to
to
fear.
fear.
There is only love.
There
Yes.
is
only
only love.
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 Namaste.
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 What a nice gathering. Thank you so much for being here, and hope you found something you'll be able to take through the rest of your week, okay? I know you give
Yes.
me a
Thank you,
charge.
Jill.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. I'll see you guys next time, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye, everyone.
Have a blessed week.
Good night.
Cheers.
Frank,
Good
good to
night.
see you as always.